I mean, at the end of the day, I sell sheets of plastic with color on it. Anyone can do that. But the hard part is not the manufacturing. It's a little bit the designs, but it's everything else that comes with creating the brand. It's the community. It's the extra details in the packaging. It's all of the events we do, all of the individual relationships with our customers and with our influencers. And that's what makes a brand, not the physical product.
Welcome to the B2B Breakthrough podcast. We're here to bring you all the best knowledge, insights, and strategies from e-commerce experts, successful business owners, and the team at Alibaba.com that you'll need to grow your business and achieve your next big breakthrough. I'm your host, Sharon Gai. Our guest today is Jules, the visionary founder of Deco Beauty, a brand that has revolutionized the beauty industry with its unique and creative nail art stickers. With an acute eye for design and a passion for the nail polish market, Jules has steered her company from a budding startup to a beloved brand featured in major retailers like Urban Outfitters. Beyond creating aesthetically pleasing products, she is on a mission to build a community around the love of nail art, making manicures fun and accessible to all. Welcome, Jules.
Hi, thank you for having me, Sharon.
We're so happy to have you here with us. So to start off, for those listeners who don't know about your brand or your product that well yet, can you just share more about what the company is about and what is the product that you have built up over the years?
Of course. So Deco Beauty, we're known for making really cute nail art things and nail art stickers specifically. We started in nail polish. This was back in 2016. Always loved pretty packaging, and I wanted to create a product that was really gift friendly and just beautiful and something that you didn't feel like you had to put away. And over the last few years, the brand got into nail art stickers. And once we launched it, it was apparent that it was very special and unique in the space. And we've pivoted to focus on the stickers now. So now, even though we still have a full nail color and care line, that's our secondary product. And our focus and our hero product are all of our different nail art sticker styles.
When you first launched, you said that the stickers instantly took off. Where was the point where you realized that the original product, the polish, wasn't working as much as the stickers?
I started in nail polish and I saw an opportunity in the direct-to-consumer space because of Instagram and the new subscription boxes that were taking over the market. This was in like 2015, 2016. And it was really exciting to see that you could bootstrap a brand and get lucky, work really hard, have a great strategy, and reach a very big audience without having to have $1 million budget. I know that social media really leveled the playing field, at least in the beginning days of social media before everything became pay to play. And I was really excited by that. And I was never known as like a nail polish person before I started working on Deco, but I always loved nail polish. And I didn't see anyone in the space doing anything really creative or interesting in nail polish. But if we remember, this is like when Glossier was starting to just take off. And if you're not familiar with Glossier, it is a millennial pink packaging, a unicorn brand in the beauty space.
I actually have some Glossy on my face right now.
Oh, there you go. They're still around and thriving. So that was the opportunity that I saw. And I worked with a couple bigger subscription boxes when I had nail polish. And what I was finding with that product was that the way that people purchased nail polish, it wasn't necessarily online. You really needed a great distribution strategy. So, for example, for those who have bought nail polish and thinking about your nail polish collection, probably you're walking down the street and you see someone with a cute nail polish color on, and you don't have to ask them what brand or what color it is. For the most part, you can just walk into any drugstore and say, that looks pretty close to that royal blue polish I saw, and you can buy it and you can get the look. And that's great. But to buy something online and pay for shipping and to look for it, the way that the purchase behavior of nail polish is more tailored to a brick and mortar environment. And I love packaging. All of my nail polishes come in cute little boxes. Well, it's not really a drugstore friendly product. It's more high end. It thrives more of a gift store environment. So while I was working with the subscription boxes and kind of learning this about nail polish behavior, I found that I was very good at making deals with the subscription boxes to get my product into these big placements like Ipsy, FabFitFun, etc. But I didn't really feel like I had much of a brand I felt like I was just making deals and selling product, which is great, but not what my goal was. And that was when I went back to the drawing board for the nail category and said, okay, what else can I add on to my product line, that looking for my secret sauce, if you will. And that was when we fell into nail art stickers. It was a very interesting timing. The nail art stickers actually launched in October of 2020. And this was after hordes and hordes of people had just learned how to do their nails at home because of COVID shutdowns. And there was just like a brand new market that was ready for something like that and excited about it.
When you were talking to Ipsy and FabFitFun, and just for our listeners who don't know much about that subscription beauty space as well, I remember those were really big, maybe in the 2012s to 15s. You can get all these small samples from bigger brands like Estee Lauder, smaller brands like Glossier. So when you were pitching to even Ipsy and FabFitFun, that was with a nail polish product, not the stickers.
Correct. Stickers didn't exist yet. And pitching to subscription boxes, I mean, it was hard a couple of years ago, and now it's even harder since their budgets just keep shrinking and they want you to see it as a marketing cost. But it's challenging. And actually, that was one of the ways that I used Alibaba, was to completely, you have to change your manufacturing process, which is a whole project in itself, because you can't spend 50 cents to $1 on each packaging component. You have to chop everything in, not even in half. You have to create products that are very inexpensive to break even with budgets of the subscription boxes. And for the most part, that means you can still get good quality pieces, but you absolutely have to do a lot of research, and it's a lot of trial and error. And even after you order, you're still learning things all the time.
How did you even approach them? Did you know people entrenched in the beauty industry, people from the subscription companies, or did that start from scratch?
Everything with my business is from scratch. So that's the other thing that I want to reiterate to people, because people look at my press list and, my retail contacts. And I came into this knowing absolutely nobody. I started my brand fresh out of school. For the first couple of years, I really felt like I was living on an island. It's all about relationships, and it's all about knowing how to approach people and not make them feel like you're trying to get something out of them. And that's something that I feel very strongly with meeting a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs who are looking for advice. People like myself, we're happy to help, but you definitely have to do it in a way that puts the relationship first and not the benefits of the other person.
Networking 101 really should have been a mandatory class we all took in college.
Absolutely. And it just kind of goes from there. My strategy with the subscription boxes was to start small and to build a history and subscription box resume, if you will. My first subscription box that I worked with was some clean beauty, only asking for 500 units, a small business similar to my own. And then from there, you learn how to go a little bigger. You learn how to ship. In my case, I learned you can't ship glass nail polish bottles.
They break.
Yes, they're just going to kick it across the floor like a football. So you have to ship freight. And how packed can I fill a pallet? And where do I even go to arrange to have a pallet? You learn all of these things. So when you do get to the big guys, you're not just a deer in the headlights.
So that you seem professional for them too.
Exactly. It just makes it so much easier. Don't feel like you have to go all in immediately. If I could go back in time, actually, I wish that I could have placed a smaller order first to then do a whole quality check and then make some revisions, especially when you're ordering overseas. Is you kind of sometimes have to be like, hey, when you manufacture my order, make sure you give me the good stuff. Do it highest quality. And it's like, yeah, no, we'll do it really good. It's like, no. You have to do it the right way. Literally every time I've ordered something in bulk overseas, the first run is always crap. And then I get mad and say, do it the right way. And then it's amazing. I'd rather do that with 1,000 pieces versus 50,000 pieces.
I have never heard that. I wonder what sort of emails manufacturers will be receiving from now on.
I'm always adjusting for higher quality and pushing for higher quality work. And I always get it. So just never the first time.
When you first started, in terms of supply chain, just sourcing all of the materials, what was your thought process like? I still remember back in the days, Sally Hansen and Essie was really popular. Did you think of going to their manufacturers and sourcing from them first for an equivalence in quality, or did you think of maybe DIYing the polish? What was your thought process in procuring that?
Great question. So I accidentally hit the jackpot with my nail manufacturer. My first sourcing round of my products was like when I was figuring out how I needed everything. I just Googled everything. Where do I buy glass? Where do I buy boxes, labels, etc.? And I happened to come across, I don't know exactly what the name of the type of agency it is, but basically, if you're Ulta and you say, hey, we want a Christmas nail polish collection, they go to this agency and they specialize in helping brands private label. But that way, Ulta doesn't need to have a whole team that is responsible for sourcing. This agency puts it together. And I happened to find one of these agencies. They said, okay, so you need to pick your bottle and your glass and your labels and whatever. Here's a catalog. And then I would Google the keywords and say, oh, hey, I already picked it through another brand and I ordered it. Oh, okay, well, I guess you don't need us for that.
They gave you the steps. You took their advertising, which is their brochure, and then you said, this is going to be my SOP from now on, and just follow these steps.
And they had mentioned a manufacturer by name and they said, oh, well, this is one of the big ones. They'll never work with you. So here's a manufacturer that we work with. We'll request samples. And I just went off and I Googled the name of the manufacturer they mentioned. I called them up and said, hey, I'd love to work with you. Can I get a meeting with you? There's two really big nail polish manufacturers in the country, and I work with one of them and been working with them since 2015.
You never know. Sometimes a sales call that you're taking with a potential vendor for you eventually becomes the blueprint for your business. And then everything just takes off from there. When you started to work with that manufacturer, did they not want to ask for a larger MOQ or think that your order size was too much? Like, what did you do to convince them? Because you were starting out too. You didn't have much of a brand, maybe not even customers yet. How did you even convince them to work with you?
Again, relationships, you show up, you have passion, and you make people want to work with you. I mean, in terms of just being positive and fun. And at the end of the day, I've taken that mantra and apply it to all of my business relationships. And I reverse it. It's like, this can be fun. And it's the best feeling in the world when you go to sleep at night thinking about you're going to wake up the next day and start working on your brand and realizing whenever someone sees me in their inbox or sees my caller ID, I want them to feel that too. And it goes both ways. Just people can feel your energy and your passion and they want to be part of it.
And then as you transition from nail polish to the stickers part, is that where Alibaba came into play, or how did they eventually come into the picture in terms of your supply chain?
So I actually tried ordering stickers from an American manufacturer at first, and they were not specialized for nail art stickers. They were just very tiny die cut stickers, and it was a bit of a disaster. And that was when I was like, okay, I need to actually go to find a supplier that specializes in nail art stickers. That's not when I started using Alibaba, but I started looking for suppliers through Alibaba. I always say narrow your factories down to like 3 or 4 and just pay for samples. It's totally worth it. I communicate with all of my factories overseas via WhatsApp. I just prefer to have that extra layer of just feels a little closer, I guess.
And so, how many manufacturers of nail art stickers did you have to go through to get to the final one?
About 3, actually. And it was interesting because I looked at like different price points. What's an expensive factory compared to a more on the cheaper end? I looked at different countries. What is a Japanese nail art sticker versus a Chinese nail art sticker? What's the quality? But I was actually most impressed with one of the Chinese factories had an amazing quality product. So that's who I went with.
So I saw some of the ones online in your store. They are very many different styles. Do you design some of them yourself, or do you get designers to design them, or are they all coming from the manufacturer already packaged in that way?
So I actually do all the design work myself, and that is really important too for this type of product where all of these manufacturers mass produce the same SKUs and sell them to third parties to sell on Amazon and in retail, etc. So that's one way that I've been able to ensure that my styles are unique and they're interesting. And my factory has been really great at alerting me when others come to them with my artwork and say that they want to create a duplicate, and they also say no. So that's also great.
Are you thinking of maybe selling the designs too to potential other buyers who want to just buy your design as opening up a new type of revenue channel for the company and selling IP?
Sure. Yeah, I've looked into that actually. There's so many possibilities. Obviously, it's which direction you could go in. You could even just remanufacture the stickers as normal stickers and bigger for notebooks and stationery. There's so many different angles, pattern making for bedding and wallpapers. But for now, I'm focused on the nail industry.
It sounds like you also built a community around it. Can you share a bit more about that side of the house?
Yeah, of course. Been very focused on Instagram since even before launching. Granted, Instagram was a very different place in 2015 than it is now. But I've always been all about community building and not only amassing an audience through social, but actually interacting with my audience and making it clear that I value their opinions. If they want to see something from the brand, we do polling and people love to participate. And it doesn't get any better than that when your customers tell you exactly what they want. So that's been a huge plus of the audience too.
So, did you eventually sell also the stickers to the subscription companies as well?
Yeah, I still have a relationship and regularly work with Ipsy and FabFitFun. The nature of their businesses have shifted. We do regularly work with them.
We heard that you eventually also took your product into large box retailers such as Urban Outfitters, Anthropologie, Free People. What was that process like? In the midst of creating those relationships with the subscription companies, did they introduce you to these fashion brands or retailers, or did that come from scratch and just networking 101?
Yeah, completely separate industries, separate people working the industry, different sales channels, different relationships. It's interesting because some of the retail relationships have come up from them emailing me, and others have come through friends of friends referring. I'm talking with another makeup national box retail chain right now, and that was through I met someone at an event and she asked if she could have some stickers for an event she was throwing, and it happened to be around this retailer. And then after everyone was asking about the stickers and everyone was excited, she thought, I'm just going to introduce you guys. So again, cannot reiterate enough knowing how to explore and be excited about relationships when there's not a clear benefit for you. Because if you just genuinely enjoy connecting with people and you want to have fun with them, it just naturally progresses from there into really cool things. So secret to life, honestly.
I know so many of the messages that I get on LinkedIn all the time about, can you help me with this or X, Y, or Z right away when I don't really know the person. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure so many of us gets that. I feel like it's such a intuitive and obvious thing, but most people don't really know about that.
My theory is that as more women enter into this space as entrepreneurs and higher levels of business, there's a very masculine way of doing business, and then there's a more empathetic way, but that's just my observation.
Actually, as a female entrepreneur, do you think it was harder or easier for you to be in the beauty industry? Because technically, it's an industry that caters to women with a lot of people in it as women.
In the beginning, I think definitely the industry was 50-50. Now, events around beauty, it's all women. It feels very safe. It's very fun. There's no tech bros. It's a new time for sure for business and especially in beauty and fashion. And I know so many female founders who are starting businesses in all categories: pet, baby, home, tech, even. There's just an explosion of female entrepreneurship that's been happening and so many resources that come along with that. And 100% the culture around female entrepreneurship is shaping in real time. And it's very different from what was before.
I agree. So I used to come from the B2B infrastructure world, and I used to go to a lot of those type of conferences. I don't even think that was even tech bros. It was just a different type of bro.
Very buttoned up, right?
Yeah. And I think just even in the e-commerce industry, it's a lot more women. The conferences feel definitely a lot safer. There's all different talks about diversity, inclusion, equity. And I think the events have also become very creative. Are there events that you recommend for any aspiring entrepreneurs in that beauty industry to go to?
Yeah. So I'm in New York and I love the Female Founder World community. I mean, that's literally what it's called, Female Founder World. The founder of Female Founder World puts on great events and it's just a great community of like minded people. I also will regularly scour Eventbrite with beauty and fashion keywords just to see what's going on. Maybe you'll see a launch event. And even if it's more like B2C, you can still connect with the events team or other consumers. I've made personal friends exploring events by myself, connecting with people over an interest. I mean, I think just being open and being available to meeting with people for coffee, to connect over the phone. I hate the word networking, but what I've found is I love being in New York because there's so many people here. We don't just talk about making plans. If I say I want to get coffee with you, you're going to get an email from me or a text from me a few hours later with me asking like, okay, so Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Yeah, are you free? There's no flakiness. The second that you sense any flakiness, you're like, nope, don't waste my time.
Do you think it's a bit different in LA, which is also a pretty big e-commerce hub?
I am not familiar with the LA culture at all, but I've heard some comparisons. And I think in New York, it's hard to also have an excuse for flaking or to not be busy because it's like, well, we're all working all the time and you can hop on the subway and you can't say like I was stuck in traffic or anything like.
Or it's too far because from point A to point B, everything is like 15 minutes door to door.
Exactly. So again, one thing that I take to heart as of a couple of years ago in my business and personal life, people make time for what they want to make time for, even if you are the busiest person in the world, and value, respect other people's time, and also value your own time.
Throughout all this brand building and PR building, how did you get into the earned media space?
So in terms of press coverage, it really snowballed. In the first couple years of my business, it was abysmal. It was sad how it was just not an interesting product for media.
So you would do similar pitches, like figure out which exact online publication you wanted an article in, and you assembled a list and then started pitching them. And then that was unsuccessful at first.
Oh yeah, worse than unsuccessful, like soul crushingly unsuccessful, where you spend like a whole day like looking up like, okay, what are the editors writing about? Who's writing about nails or new launches or trends? Talking about, hey, I saw you wrote about best nail colors for fall. Let me introduce you to my brand. Nothing, completely unsuccessful. And I didn't even try anymore. I kind of re-strategized everything. And I thought, okay, when I'm looking at these articles, what are the editors covering? And they're actually including a lot of influencer photos and content. So I actually worked backwards and thought, okay, so instead of trying to contact the editors directly, what I'm going to do is send free product and create relationships with these influencers that these editors clearly like and follow. And my product would start appearing on these beauty influencers. That was kind of how I like to think I kickstarted the media, and it snowballs. So, editors searching for best nail products of 2023, they're going to Google that and they're going to find you through an article from someone else. And then, it gets a little easier as you go more frequently. So that's my advice. Obviously, it doesn't work in every space with every niche, but that was my strategy for getting started again with a different type of strategy versus just cold pitching.
So we talk about influencer marketing a lot on this podcast, and I think every single brand has a different approach to it. There are a million influencers out there in the beauty space. Where did you know where to start with in just the initial set of influencers that you started to contact?
I think the biggest thing is one, their aesthetic and their vibe. You never want to partner with an influencer that doesn't align with your brand values and your look. I mean, those are kind of separate but related things, right? So we try and focus on creators. They're not going to be throwing in anything that can be accidentally controversial later. They don't overshare, but they share a lot about their niche. So that's one thing. And then also just making sure that, again, relationships, I feel like I've said that a million times, but the vibe of the interaction really makes or breaks it too.
What was the next step in the earned media space?
I will say we did recently set up an affiliate marketing link for editors and media so that if you've ever seen an article where it says if you click things, we may earn a commission. We set that up in October, and we do have a couple media hits that use the link. But actually, most of the recent press hits, the editors have not included the link. So I couldn't tell you if it really makes a difference or not.
How it was correlated.
Yeah, interesting thing. I was told that was the future of media and PR is, making everything a commission based, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think every article that is out there, for me in the speaking space, it's definitely true as well that one article leads to another because all of these reporters also are journalists, Google each other and see what each other is writing about or covering. And then things snowball from there. I'm sure that helped a lot on the big box retailer side as well when you were trying to build relationships with them. Was that sort of proof that this product is working?
100%. It also sets your brand apart from the drop shippers. I think that's what it proves is this is real. There's community behind it. This is a real brand. It has personality. It has character. It has recognition. This isn't a fad. And this has legs. This is something beyond the product. I mean, at the end of the day, I sell sheets of plastic with color on it. Anyone can do that. But the hard part is not the manufacturing. It's a little bit the designs, but it's everything else that comes with creating the brand. It's the community. It's the extra details in the packaging. It's all of the events we do, all of the individual relationships with our customers and with our influencers. And that's what makes a brand, not the physical product.
And once the product was stocked by these retail giants, how did you manage and nurture those relationships? Are there specific strategies you found that's effective in maintaining a positive and mutually beneficial relationship with these retailers?
Sure. And to be completely transparent, I'm actively figuring that one out as I go. But my gut is to do more of the same with brand and just continue to build the brand and continue to talk about where you are stocked and make sure everyone knows where they can get your products in person and just keep brand building. It's the harder part of the two parts of this business, but that's also where it can be wildly successful. And that's going to set you apart from anyone else trying to replicate what you're doing in your space too.
Do these retailers ever want to fix a part of your product that you then have to adjust for?
They've been pretty good with, I haven't asked for any changes. I do have a partner that's asked for me to manufacture a completely different product, but it actually led to a friendship with another brand. Urban wanted me to create temporary tattoos with my designs because they were doing so well in their shop. And I was like, that's great, but I don't make temporary tattoos and I'm not really interested in that. So instead of telling them no or trying to completely pivot my business to accommodate this request, I went out and I found another brand to do a collaboration with the designs. And yeah, it worked out. And now this brand is a good friend of mine too. So yeah, that's how you can handle that. You don't need to completely bend for anything that the retailer wants. You can absolutely push back or rather say, that's a great idea. How about this instead?
You seem very deeply focused in that specific product and you're sort of unwavering no matter what the market or your suppliers or your customers are saying, you're going deep into that exact nail space. Is there a larger vision behind that?
Yeah, this brand will be the US-based nail art sticker brand, 100%. No one else focuses on nail stickers in the nail space. And there's a huge opportunity for me to just keep thoughtfully building my retail presence. And I see a huge white space. Again, anyone can make stickers, but the brand is the exciting part and also what excites me to keep working on it. So the focus is ultimately what I know is also going to be a huge part of the success story. So stay focused. There's a lot of different things you can do. And losing focus is what is 100% waste money, waste your energy and your time. You got to keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah, it might also take away from the brand too, because when you mix a lot of SKUs in, it veers off track. So, some closing questions. Reflecting your journey with Deco Beauty from its inception to present day, what has been the single most valuable lesson you've learned as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think that stay humble, be competitive, but with yourself. The end of the day, if my business is going to fail, it's my fault. It's no one's fault but my own. And once you accept that responsibility, yes, it's very scary, but also you feel so powerful knowing that you're in charge and you own the success and you also will own the failure if that happens.
Is there something that you wish you knew earlier in the journey?
That's a great question. Since I started when I was 23, I don't know. I mean, I've really grown up with this business. So looking back, like, I don't think I would change anything because everything was part of my professional education. It was part of the experience and also part of the brand story, which is also why it is what it is today. Would it have been nice to maybe go a little faster? I mean, I say maybe, but also no. My brand is bootstrapped, by the way. I mean, I think the slow burn brands.
You've never wanted to take VC money?
No. The slow burn is you build the foundation of your brand and your business. And I think when I look at other brands that grow very quickly, yes, it's a slower process, but I also have years of relationships with my customers and with my business relationships too. So, I mean, there's pluses and minuses of doing it both ways, but I don't regret bootstrapping at all.
I mean, it's also pretty rare as a 23-year-old to start out and wanting to jump straight into this industry. I think most 23-year-olds, if you're enraptured by the beauty industry, you want to work at a L'Oreal, Estee Lauder. Did you always want to?
No, I wanted to work for a startup and I didn't get a job. I didn't get hired. So I thought, all right, I will be in the beauty industry. Just you guys watch.
Just in another way.
In another way. Yeah, exactly.
In your own way.
Yeah. Like I said, you have full control, full agency. I don't even know what rejection is. It's just, like I said, it's no, not right now. So that's kind of how I felt, I guess, when I tried.
I feel like no, not right now could be a great sticker to have on your nails as an affirmation.
100%.
Looking ahead, what's next for Deco Beauty?
So this year, we're going to really be trying to expand our retail presence and build that out. And then again, just continue to brand build and see what we can get with creating really great content, working with more content creators, and just expanding our reach and audience that way.
Any final words of advice for people when they're first starting out? Maybe they might be a 23-year-old also, or older. It's never late to start.
Yeah, again, I mean, thinking of all the way that I operated when I was 23, I don't think I necessarily made mistakes, but I think again, with like my initial story of just like not knowing how things worked and doing things in a weird way, maybe that's why it worked out. But I think the biggest thing is stay laser focused on your strategy, but then also you have to have a strategy. I think is also important to remember. Launching a brand is really easy. It's not necessarily an easy thing, but like compared to what comes after the launch, it's very easy. And there's a playbook for how to do it. Give me that with my logo on it and you've got a product. But the brand part is hard.
I guess you would have a brand that doesn't really mean much.
Right, exactly. You're not going to go anywhere with that. I think that if you have a plan, no, it's going to change. The plan is fluid, but like you have to have a plan because at the end of the day, when you're doing this, you don't have a boss. You're your own boss. No one's telling you what to do. And at least if you know where you're trying to go, you can sort of tailor what you're doing that week in that direction. And that's really helped me, really helped me stay focused and not be discouraged because there's always something that can be done. If you do that, you'll be great.
Well, with that, I want to thank you so much for being here with us. B2B Breakthrough is produced by Alibaba.com. To find out how Alibaba.com is empowering its customers with the tools, services, and resources they need to grow their businesses, visit Alibaba.com. And then make sure to search for B2B Breakthrough Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcasts. Make sure to follow us so you don't miss future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Alibaba.com, thanks for listening.